What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's Jordan. It's Demi. It's real with Jordan and Demi. It's been a while, Demi. How you doing?
I'm doing good today. We've got a UKer.
Yeah, Demi loves the British boys. Let's call it like it is.
Jesus, I'm already.
So, Demi, we had a little break here. I went to Missouri and you went to Greece. So we both had exotic getaways. I hope you had a good time. You're back in the States now, back in New York. You ready to get started here?
Let's go.
All right. So tonight's guest is a DJ and producer whose hit singles include Sorry and Head and Heart and Lonely. He's also remixed artists like Ed Sheeran, Megan Thee Stallion, and Katy Perry. His new single Out Out with Jax Jones featuring Charlie XCX and Saweetie is out now. Please welcome Joel Corry.
Yo,
what is going on, man?
All good. I'm on tour right now in the US. I'm in San Francisco right now, and yeah, just
beautiful city to be in.
It's lovely. Like I've just got to the hotel, but we had a little drive through the city, and I was like, oh, it's beautiful. And I've just come from LA as well, which was really fun. But yeah, anyway, thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to speak to you both.
Absolutely.
East Coast or the West Coast? If you had to vote for one.
Ooh. I'll tell you at the end of my tour.
Okay. Just so you guys heads up, Joel is playing in New York here on October 2nd, I believe. So if you're in the New York area, get tickets for that. See, I just gave you some free promo right there. Free promo right there.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I can't wait for that show. That's going to be so good.
So first things first, let's talk about this new single, Out Out. It's up to nearly 40 million streams on Spotify, doing really well. You have some great people on this track. It's Charlie XCX and Saweetie, and you did this. So tell us about how this came together. Who called who? How did this track, get pieced together?
Okay, so Out Out samples a classic record by Stromae called Allures on Dance that came out about 10 years ago, and I used to play this track a lot in my DJ sets. The original was in French, and it was a big tune in the club sets back in the day, and I loved it. And I had the idea of sampling it, and I started like the idea a few years ago actually, and I got the sample cleared, and I kind of had it on the back burner. Then I went on tour with Jax Jones just before lockdown happened, and we struck up a really good friendship, and we said, we should do a collaboration together. And then we just kept talking during lockdown, and I sent him the idea I was working on with the Stromae sample, which was Out Out, and he loved the original too. So we're like, okay, this is the idea that we need to collaborate on, and we jumped in the studio together and started working on it, and we got into writing sessions and started developing the top line, and both of us, our top pick would have been Charlie XCX to do that vocal, and luckily she's on the same record label as me, so
that helps.
It helps. A few calls from the big bosses hooked us up, and Charlie was up for it, and it was great working with Charlie as well. Such a pro. When we needed some new stuff, she was straight in the studio to cut some new bits for us. So yeah, she smashed it. Then the icing on the cake, literally, Saweetie jumped on and smashed the verse. Obviously, she's on fire right now. So happy that she jumped on it as well. And the song's called Out Out, and it's a party track. It's a fun track, and we wanted to bring it out when everyone could get back out in the clubs again and let loose on the dance floor. So the timing felt perfect as well.
Well, it's a banger. This thing is an anthem. And you're right about Charlie's vocals. I mean, this is the classic Charlie XCX vocals. So congrats on the success on that one.
Thank you so much.
I mean, we love a British accent over here. I was wondering, what do you guys think about American accents?
Oh, I love them, man. I absolutely love them. Yeah, it's like when I get to America, and I've been over to America quite a few times. I've got family that live here. And yeah, I always just have like the best vibe here, and you guys are so friendly, and I always feel so welcomed. There always seems to be like such a positive vibe when I'm here. And yeah, one day you never know, I might move out here too.
You like the southern accent? You like that southern sound, that country sound?
I do. I like them all, to be honest. Like I haven't got any favorites, if I'm honest with you. It's so nice to like just get here and as I said, catch a vibe. But yeah, again, I might let you know at the end of the tour actually what's my favorite accent.
Oh yeah, I guess you'll get to hear them all.
Yeah.
Now, Joel, you started your rose to fame on the Geordie Shore, the UK version of the Jersey Shore, and I'm curious, you know, when you're on a reality show, the next step is what do you do with that fame? What's the next part in your career? And obviously you went into music. What was the plan like? How did you parlay your exposure on television into this DJ career?
Well, actually, like I actually been DJing since I was like 14. It's kind of been my life's passion. I started, I got my first pair of decks of Christmas when, as I said, when I was 14, and I've been a resident club DJ my whole life basically. And always, my dream was always to, have hit singles and tour the world and play all the festival stages. That was always my dream. And like doing the Geordie Shore thing, I've got the best memories from that period of my life. I'm so grateful that I was able to have that experience, and being on the show definitely at that point in my life helped me start gigging all around the UK, because as I said, I was a resident club DJ before then, and I kind of was just playing my local area and in London. And then once I kind of went on that show, I started to be able to travel around the UK and play gigs in Europe. And then, but obviously my biggest dream was always to get a hit single and start touring the world. And it took me over 10 years until it happened. But I'm so thankful that it finally did. And since then I've just been working hard and trying to keep these bangers coming for you guys.
Yeah, well, you keep them coming. So I guess it was just fortunate that you had this skill and this passion of DJing and making music, that you were able to kind of like use your exposure to kind of boost that. So it kind of worked. Everything worked out well for you.
Yeah, and I was sort of, as I said, I was a resident club DJ for so many years, and then going on the show, obviously there's exposure and stuff, and it meant that clubs from all over the country started booking me as like guest slots rather than me sort of being a resident DJ where I was playing like from the opening to the very end, like 6 hours. You know how it is as a resident DJ. So it kind of went from that into then doing like guest slots, like I was the guest DJ of the night. So kind of stepped up that way, and then obviously things. I always had my like dream of getting the music right and hopefully getting a hit single away, and then that obviously changed everything once I finally had a hit single.
I always wondered what it's like to be a DJ. It's kind of your job to keep the party going, to get it started, to play the right music. How crazy is it? What kind of DJ are you? Are you the party type, or are you the sober type?
Honestly, it's the best job in the world. Like I don't even count it as a job. Like it's my hobby. I'm so lucky to do what I do, and yeah, I mean, I love a party, of course, but it's kind of you know what it is though, when you're touring, is like I'm the sort of DJ that if I could DJ 8 nights a week, I would. Do you know what I mean? I want to DJ every single night. So I'm always touring, heavily touring, and I kind of over the years understand where the balance is, because the most important thing for me is like my performance always has to be 100%. I never want to turn up to a venue and not feel it. I always want to be on point. So it depends. Like if I've got an early flight the next day, I probably won't be getting like absolutely on a mad one the night before. I'll probably keep it a bit tamer, just so like if I've got travel, I can make the flight. But if I've got, like, for example, I'm playing in Vegas tomorrow night, and then I've got 2 days off in Vegas, so it's like, okay, maybe
2 days off in Vegas.
Yeah. So then maybe I'm like, you know what, I don't have the travel the next day, there might be an after party. So it's kind of just having that balance of like staying professional but obviously still enjoying yourself as well.
One of the first guests we had on the show is a DJ Alexander, who hosts Day Life Radio on Sirius XM Chill. There's your free promo, Alex, right there. We went to college together, actually. Really? And when we had him on the show, he talked about how DJs take care of themselves, touring DJs take care of themselves way more than what people think. Do you have a really, especially because you're a fitness guy, do you have a really strict regimen in terms of what you put in your body and when you put it in, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Fitness is a huge part of my life. It's sort of been my passion as well as my music from my whole life, really. So when I'm touring, I make sure I still get my workouts in. If it's finding a local gym to the city that I'm playing in or whatever, I'll make sure that I always make that a priority to keep my workouts going, to stay fit and healthy. And diet's really important. So always just trying to find like healthy, clean food to eat rather than just like whatever at the airport, because that catches up with you after a while. But yeah, it's just like, for me, it's always a priority to make sure, you know, I get in the gym and keep my diet on point, because at the end of the day, when you're touring like this intensively, you need to feel fresh. And you know, if you start eating the wrong things or whatever, you can, you know, you don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, totally. And I see you're in this like pretty nice hotel room. When you come back to a hotel room, you know, it's 1, 2 in the morning, you're hungry, you have to do room service. What do you go to? Do you go something healthy, or you like burger and fries?
It depends if I've had a drink or not.
Fair. I feel that.
No, I always try and take the healthy option if it's available, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you need to get a Mackie D's, bro. It's the only way, isn't it?
Absolutely.
How do you call it? Mackie D's?
Is that what? Oh yeah, it's quite a British term, isn't it? Mackie D's.
Yeah, we say Mickey D's here in the States, and it's
Mickey D's.
Mickey D's, yeah.
I'll try and use that one.
Mickey D's.
You know,
sound is like pretty. What's up, Jordan?
No, you go ahead, Demi.
No, I was gonna ask, because everyone says you're heavily influenced by UK garage, but I don't. What does that sound like, UK garage?
Yeah, what do you draw from UK garage?
Yeah, like the underground UK like electronic scene. Is that what people mean when they say that about you?
Well, it goes back to, like, you know, when I started DJing when I was a teenager, in London, in the UK, like UK garage at that time was the biggest genre of music for me. Like growing up, that's the sort of scene that I got into, and they were the DJs that I was following, and it was you know, it was a proper sort of era of music in the UK. So that's where my roots are in garage music. You know, for years I played garage, and you know, the first gigs I ever done were like garage raves and that sort of thing. And I guess, you know, of course I'm influenced by it because that's where my roots are. But my single "Sorry," which was my first sort of breakthrough record, is a cover of a classic garage track called "I'm Sorry," and that was like one of the first vinyls I ever brought when I was a kid. And you know, it was a special song for me, and always was a staple of my DJ sets as a teenager. So my version of it obviously became, you know, UK top 10 in 2019, was my first hit record. So yeah, I guess you can see the influence just by me covering that record.
One of your other big hits was Bed, the track you did with David Guetta and Ray. What was it like working with David Guetta with his track record? Was it intimidating at all? Like, or were you able to kind of exchange ideas like you were buddies?
Yeah, honestly, like it's still surreal to me that like I've got to tune David Guetta out, because I've been playing his record since I was 16. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
if you told me back then I would one day have a record of him, I'd have been like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? And you know, one of the best things to come from it has been like the friendship I've got with David now. We speak all the time. I went for dinner at his place in Ibiza this summer, which was absolutely amazing. He was in London the other day actually, and we sort of met up for a chat and stuff. And we're working on new music together as well, which I'm really excited about. We might have something coming next year. So,
wow.
But anyway, back to your question, like. It was an amazing process, and you know, the first time I spoke to him, he called me on FaceTime. I was sitting next to my mate, and I was like, "David Guetta is FaceTiming right now."
Did his name come across the thing like David Guetta's calling you? Yeah.
He goes, "Shut up!" I was like, "Mate, he's calling me right now." And yeah, so it was yeah. I'm so grateful to work with him, and as I said, he's become a really good friend of mine, and I love working with him. Like we had a studio session in London where we was working on some new music, and we stayed there late, and it was just so cool to be in there with him, seeing him in action, doing his thing, and sort of going back and forth together. So, yeah, big up David, man.
Kind of going off of that, are there DJs you enjoy watching spin or produce just because you like to see how they do it? Do you pay attention to that kind of thing?
Of course, yeah, of course. You know, you know, I'm a raver. I love going out raving and seeing some of my favorite DJs. Obviously we've had a bit of time off now, but we're back out there now, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of my favorites again at some festivals, hopefully, that I might be playing on the same lineups too as well now, which is crazy. But yeah, of course, you know, like I get loads of influence from from seeing other DJs, you know, and there, you know, other DJs that are playing like the new music and stuff and the hottest new stuff. You can always get influence from that and sort of like keep your ear to the ground. And production wise, I mean, there's so many I could talk about, but I mean, David's one of them. He's the amount of hit records he's had over his lifetime and sort of stayed
and also the
relevant
variety of kinds of songs he's had hits with, different genres and different feels and stuff. Totally.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Where's your favorite spot to look for samples or new music or beats or something? Are you a crate digger? Do you have an LP collection, or how do you go about looking for new things to work with?
Well, if it's like sort of new music from my DJ sets, I sit on Beatport for like hours and hours and hours, man. Even like when I was coming out here to prep for my US tour, like I'm so passionate about my DJ sets, so I'll sit there crate digging for hours and hours, man. And I think that's the way that you kind of like can really bring like freshness to your sets, is if you actually spend the time really searching for the newest music, and you can tell when you go and see a DJ, like if they've really spent that time crate digging. And I mean, it's great now because you can do it online, but I remember back in the day when none of this stuff was around, I used to have to go to the record shop and do it, which was obviously a cool experience. But yeah, and now we got online, so it's much easier.
Speaking of the record store, I took a DJ lesson recently.
Oh yeah.
How'd that go, Demi?
Okay, so I went in and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be super easy. I'm just going to click some buttons. I'm going to be like this, and it's going to be great. And I kid you not, the guy took out a crate of vinyl and was like, so we're going to start, you have to learn how to do this with vinyl first. And I was like, wait, so you mean I have to put the CD thing, the thing on the thing, and then when I want to change another song, I take it off and put the other thing on the thing, and then it was just crazy. So DJing is actually so much harder than you think. And you start out with vinyl, no?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and people don't realize, like, if you like learning to DJ on vinyl is much trickier than learning on USBs or CDJs, you know, because now you've got like the screen that literally tells you what the BPM is of the record. You just have to match it up. But when I started, I'm grateful that I had that sort of that when I was brought up in an era where you kind of had to learn on actual vinyl, and you had to learn how to beat match without no guidance. It was just literally from the ear. But that is I'm grateful that I had that, because that was special times. Obviously now it is much easier turning up with the club with your USB, but I'm glad that I went through that experience.
Do you think that you're a better club DJ when you're doing the sets without full turntables? Do you think that your experience with vinyl helps you at all?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, I think as well, like, as I said, going back to like learning on vinyl, there was no like guidance from how to mix. You had to literally just use your ear, and I did that for so many years that I think that is like something that, you know, it takes so much practice, but it's like riding a bike. Once you got it, you got it. And yeah, it definitely like helped me as a DJ, because it makes you better technically, for sure.
Yeah, I was curious. You know, you have all these hit singles out. You mentioned Sorry, and we talked about at the top of the show. We talked about, you know, that Out is close to 40 million streams this afternoon when I looked. How much do you pay attention to the streams and to the YouTube views, that kind of stuff, versus just like sitting back and, you know, letting it take its course?
I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I'm pretty across it, to be honest. Like, people say, oh, it's not important, but everyone is always checking, I think.
Sure.
I think obviously, like, you know, as well, you want your records to be successful, and it's not just you involved. Remember, you know, you got a whole, you know, the record label and management, and there's a lot of people like involved in a release. So you want the record to do well, because then everyone does well. And also kind of, you know, but it is the most important thing though, and the most satisfying thing is that watching people like connect with the records, for sure, like on the dance floor, and getting the messages on, you know, social media with people saying, you know, I love your music. You know, when heard it on the radio today, turned it up, and it made me feel good inside. For sure, that's the most satisfying thing. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, like, you want to see your streams popping off as well.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Kind of going off of that, you besides your own original music and collaborations you've also done a ton of remixes for some really big artists. We mentioned those, Megan Thee Stallion, Ed Sheeran, Katy Perry. When you're about ready to do a remix for somebody, especially someone big, you have kind of two things you have to think about in my head. First is something that will make people dance. Like the whole reason you're making a remix is you're making a dance track for this song that wasn't a dance song to begin with. Mm-hmm. The other thing is you want to make it sound original, sound fresh, sounds kind of unexpected, put this bass thing here, this beat thing here. So how do you balance that when you're making a remix, like staying original, but also making sure that, people want to dance to it?
Yeah, like, so when I do a remix, I'm always thinking of like, how could this work in my sets? And that's how I sort of attack it, really. And I guess I've got a formula in place now where I know what can work and what can't work. And it's, as you said, it's just bringing like something fresh to it that I know that other DJs are going to play as well. And yeah, sometimes I like to take my remixes a bit more clubby, and then sometimes like lean towards more of like a commercial sort of radio crossover side. So yeah, but I love doing remixes, and like you said, the list of names that you said there is quite amazing. And Ed Sheeran was one of them that I recently did the Bad Habits remix, and he even sent me a message on Instagram to say thanks for doing it, which was absolutely mental, because I was like, I got a DM from Ed Sheeran. I'm like the biggest Ed Sheeran fanboy, by the way.
You are Ed Sheeran. That's surprising.
So you're obviously known for your electronic music, but do you like more acoustic, laid back stuff too?
Oh, well, obviously, I'm a dance music head. That's what I do, but sometimes I need a little break from it. So yeah, if I've got a long drive ahead of me, I've got my Ed Sheeran album up, full blast, singing along to every word. Windows up though, you don't want to hear these vocals.
I feel like people will imagine DJs just playing electronic music 24/7.
Well, I basically do, to be honest. But if I get a chance to listen to something different in the car, I probably would, because if I'm in the studio or at the club, or it is non-stop. But I love it. But yeah, sometimes you need a little break from it.
What kind of studio guy are you? Can you go into a studio and lose track of time, and all of a sudden it's the next day? Or are you like looking at the clock, like, okay, I'm going to be out of here at 8 o'clock. I need to eat dinner?
Definitely not, man. Like, honestly, it becomes a blur sometimes. Yeah, you have to get lost in it. You have to. Once you jump into that sort of process, like, you can't be clock watching, because sometimes things take ages to click. You could be in a session for like 8 hours and nothing really be coming from it, and then in the last half an hour it all falls into place. It's mad how it happens sometimes. Like, it's always, I think anyone that's clock watching in a studio session probably shouldn't be in there.
We talked about basics, but what other skills do you think DJs need in order to be successful and get to like your level?
Do you know what? Like, if you're pursuing the sort of artist route, there's so much more to it outside of the music that probably people don't really get. And it's sort of like building a brand. That is so difficult. Oh God, it's like the music one side, and then it's like, as I said, like having that brand. And I spent years sort of promoting myself as a DJ, non-stop promoting myself and hustling and trying to get my name out there. And that stuff is the hardest part of it, in my opinion. It's constant as well. So whether you're doing like, non-stop promo or the touring, and yeah, just being able to like connect, like put yourself out there and people connect with you. It's difficult, man. Obviously today as well, there's so many like social media platforms and all that sort of stuff that you've kind of got to be across. So yeah, like you kind of just got to try and, I guess, bring like the full package, if you want to put it like that, and tickle these sort of boxes, if you like.
Do you enjoy the social media aspect of it?
Yeah, there's good points and bad points about it. Obviously, great point about it is that you can connect to people around the world instantly, which is absolutely amazing, and people can follow you from around the world. Like back when I started DJing, I was literally like bringing my CDs to nightclubs and giving them out to people on the dance floor after my set. And now I can just put something up online and someone from other side of the world can hear it instantly, which is amazing. So there's definitely so many great things about it. And, you know, there's so many ways you can put your name out there. Like we're just talking about building a brand. Like there's so many options now where you can, like, as I said, put yourself out there. And also, like, when you do gigs and stuff, I love the fact that people can, like, you know, Snapchat or Instagram story part of your gig, and then you can like reshare it the next day and kind of keep that sort of, you know, people can see how the gig was going. It's that's really cool. Obviously, the bad side of it is there is like I think sometimes too much social media can take over your life a little bit. So you got to kind of have that balance of when to, you know, put your phone down and get off it and stop scrolling.
Yeah. Kind of going off of that, how nervous do you get when you're dropping a track? How anxious do you get about the reception it's going to get on social media or on, you know, like, when you drop a track, you're like, oh, I wonder how people will like it or they won't like it. Do you enjoy those release days, or do they give you more anxiety?
No, not at all. I love it. I think, you know, you being able to sort of gauge a response. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one because it's like I probably wouldn't gauge a response of new music from social media because I feel like new music has to kind of get out there for people to settle in. Right. But I mean, I do gauge it on the response of a dance floor though. Like a dance floor is a great tool to test out new music and then see what can be tweaked and et cetera, et cetera.
And Joel, that's such a great thing to bring up because that's one thing that hasn't changed since the 70s, 60s, is that the way to test the power of a song is how do people react to it when you play it in front of a crowd? And that could have applied 50 years ago and it applies now. So that's kind of one cool thing that has kind of been continuous throughout electronic music and you know, DJ life throughout the years. And it's cool that still counts for something.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, you know, it's for me, that is how I test my music. And it was weird in the pandemic actually, because I released Head and Heart and Bed without ever playing them to a dance floor, which was like so alien to me.
And that was such a giant hit too, without any clubs open to play the song in the clubs.
I nearly didn't release it because I was like, this coronavirus thing is gonna blow over. It'll be sweet, you know. Once it's over, I'll put it out then. But I mean, well, thank God I did put it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I nearly didn't because I was like, in my mind, I was like, how can I release a song without playing it in a nightclub? Like, that was crazy for me to like put a song out there without actually playing it in a club. So yeah, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Everyone probably, you know, it's like Joel, the DJ, TV personality, producer, super shiny, hit records. Who is Joel without all that stuff? What do you do minus the music? What are your hobbies minus the music?
That's a good question. Do you know what? I am quite, to be honest, I'm a bit of a workaholic, if you like. And I think outside of my work, I have such a small circle, if I'm honest with you. I'm in love with what I do so much, and it is definitely a 24/7 thing for me. I think to sort of get to where I want to get to, you have to be like that. It's like full on commitment. So I don't really have anything else going on outside of what I do, if I'm honest with you. I mean, I'm into my fitness stuff. That's a big passion of mine. So I like to keep, you know, my training going and that side. But I think that goes hand in hand though with my work, because it kind of keeps me ticking and keeps me, you know, if I feel good, I can work better. But if I'm honest with you, like, I know it sounds pretty sad, but outside of my work, I haven't got time to do anything else because it takes, you know, every minute of the day I feel like I'm working.
It's kind of going off that you mentioned your fitness. You don't just work out a lot. You've actually done some bodybuilding. You've posed and for your fitness magazine stuff. I mean, look at that. Is, first of all, Joel, that is a very artistic photo.
How do you do that?
Yeah, how do you do that? So, how did you go from, you know, because anybody can go to the gym, get a nice set of abs, but how did you go from, you know, just a guy goes to the gym to a guy who's getting photographs taken, you know, looking like Arnold in the 70s or something?
Well, the fitness thing was a hobby of mine since I was like since I was 14. You know, I started that when I sort of started the DJing as well, and you know, I did it through my teenage years, and I got to my early 20s, and I was like, I want to see how far I can take this. You know, like if I really push myself, like how good can I be? And I kind of just had this like fire burning inside me of like, you know, wanted to. Obviously, I did the competitions and I won quite a few of them, and I just had this thing inside me that I wanted to achieve, like a box that I wanted to tick, and I wanted to see how far I could push the training. And yeah, like it's so much dedication and commitment to do those competitions and to sort of get into that sort of condition. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was like grueling, man, the diet and the training. But I think that it benefited me so much for later in life to have gone through that sort of commitment and dedication.
The discipline you have to stay in shape for those.
The discipline, man. It was like the focus and the discipline to sort of win those competitions. I don't think anything was harder than doing that. So now I feel like it's made me so mentally strong. And if I've got a goal in mind, I can commit to it. And I'm the sort of person, I'll do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. I'm a bit like that. Like I can't let it go. So, and I think some of that goes back to those competitions where like I just had this thing in my mind of like had to win this competition. So train, eat, sleep, repeat, you know, like I had to get there. So I think it's benefited me in all aspects of my life.
Yeah, when I look at that picture, I can smell the self tanner, like the tan. Yeah.
Are there any secrets that like maybe your average person or your average online blog would not know about how to get that fit? Like, is there any secrets that you know that you can pass along to us?
Tell us how do you get from flab to fab in 2 weeks? Yeah.
Well, obviously, like the diet is a massive part of it. To be honest with you,
yeah. Let me ask you this, Joel.
That's the hardest bit.
How do you feel about the intermittent fasting trend?
I've never done it. You know, I've never done it. I've always been like just having a balanced, healthy meal plan has always been right. I've never tried like the fasting sort of thing, like, so I can't really say if I think it's good or not. I know it works for some people. I've got friends that do it and really, make a lot of noise about it. But what I would say is like the best diet is the diet you can stick to. So if you find something that works for you, then that's what you should stick to. Everyone's different. But for me, it's just always been having like a balanced meal plan of getting my protein in around the clock and having my, eating healthy and obviously keeping my cardio up and that sort of thing has always helped me kind of stay in shape.
Yeah. Get that V going. Yeah.
I'm sure you've got a good six pack, mate.
I'm getting there, Joel. I'm getting there. Now, Joel, you have you mentioned you're on this tour. You have DJ'd in some beautiful locations. You did this set in Dubai earlier this year. Oh my goodness gracious. Tell us about what it's like, how you're able to concentrate, because you've got a job to do. You've got this music to play. You've got this set to put together. And can you concentrate when you've got this ridiculous, amazing, scenery around you?
Oh no, for me it helps me. If you play, somewhere as beautiful as that, you sort of catch a vibe as well. It's like this summer I had residency in Ibiza, and my set was always a sunset set, and I mean,
oh my goodness,
there's nothing more magical than playing the sunset in Ibiza. So that sort of thing helps me. But I'm also a big fan of like playing in a dark, sweaty nightclub. That's where I can really get my teeth into a bit of a tougher, harder set. So like that Dubai set was great, and that was actually during the pandemic as a live stream actually. So I wanted to do a live stream that had like a bit of a visual element to it. So when people
a bit of a visual element, just a bit.
Yeah.
Now, let's go a little bit more in depth about your preferences as a DJ. We have this little rapid fire game we play with our guests to kind of learn more about them. So let's do that right now. Let's play What's Your Deal? All right. So what's your deal with Joel Corry? We'll learn more about him. And let's start off with about Joel Corry, the DJ, when you're doing your set. Okay, so first of all, here we go. What do you do right before a big DJ set? Like, what's the last thing you do before you go in front of the people?
Probably check I've got my USBs in my bag.
Fair.
Check I've got my headphones and USBs.
Yeah.
It's
You're actually
before
going to
I've
be
left them in the hotel room.
Yeah. Totally understandable. Okay. Next question. What's the biggest set you've ever played? Like in terms of people, do you remember?
Biggest set. It's probably some of the festivals I played in the UK this summer. I haven't really played like the massive festivals just yet because the sort of pandemic held it back a little bit for me, I think. So I haven't really had like a huge, ridiculous like Tomorrowland sort of crowd before. But for me, like probably playing in Ibiza in my first residency this summer was a big thing for me because my dream has always been to play in Ibiza. So yeah, like that my Ibiza residency this summer
and chilling out with David Guetta at his spot, you know, eating sandwiches and watching the sunset. Yeah. I'm sure you ate I'm sure you ate a sandwich with him at some point. Okay. All right. Next question. What's the weirdest set you played? Anything strange? Any weird places you've spun?
Oh god, so many over the years, you know. Like I used to actually when I first started DJing, I had a mobile disco company, so I used to do like weddings and like people's birthdays.
So you started at the bottom. You started at like the straight up like weddings, mitzvahs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I did it for years, man. When I was like 16, 17, I had my own little, you know, the lighting and the smoke machine and the decks. I used to, do
lasers. Yes.
Yeah. So I definitely played some strange gigs over the years. Let me tell you, man. It would have to go back to probably some of those weddings, man. They were tough gigs, you know. Like I was probably more nervous playing to a wedding than playing to a festival with 10,000 people because you know people don't go to a wedding to dance. You've got to try and make them dance.
Yeah, you got to like invite the bride and groom up. You have to like do the different.
You got to host it, and tough.
And if you're playing a big festival or a big club, it's not like people can just walk up to you and talk to you. You're at a wedding. Uncle Bill, Uncle Jim can just walk up to you and be like, "Hey,"
and someone's like, "Oh, can you play some music that I can dance to?" And you're like, what? Like you always get that one person that just nags you the whole set.
Right. And next question, do you prefer a big indoor club or more of an outdoor festival vibe if you had to choose between the two?
Do you know what? I think I'd probably say I actually love club sets the most, just because I feel like a big dark room I can really take a crowd on a proper journey, especially if I've got an extended set, like if I'm playing for 3 hours or something, because festival sets normally quite short because they've got like so many DJs on lineup. You get like an hour and a half, but in a club set sometimes you can play 3-4 hours, and that's when you can really hit
that groove.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's my preference. So I just basically I want to DJ as long as possible. So yeah, put me in a club and they can't take me off then.
Right. Next question: how much effort goes into your look for a DJ set? You have some great shirts. You always have like a super dope shirt on. So how much effort goes into that?
Yeah, I do love my shirts, to be honest. Yeah. I like to have a little look online and order the most sort of like standout. I've got a few funny ones, but they're right in Ibiza. But sometimes you get a few funny looks when when you wear them other places.
True. Yeah. And what do you eat or drink right after set? And I ask this because I know that you're a fitness guy. You care about nutrition, and I'm sure a set takes a lot of energy out of you. So what do you do to refuel?
What do I eat? I kind of like nothing in particular. As I mentioned before, maybe if we've had a bit of a big night, you know, sort of the guard goes down a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It might have to hit. What do you call it? Mickey D's.
Yeah, Mickey D's. Yeah.
Nah, but if not, to be honest though, like I don't normally eat after a set because I'm normally playing quite late, so I'll probably get back to the hotel room by like 3-4 in the morning. Probably by that point you're just off the bed because you've got to get up early. So yeah, I probably don't even eat that much I normally like before I DJ, so I've got some energy to. If I'm staying on there for 3-4 hours, you need some carbs for that.
And you gotta stay hydrated, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right, and finally, where would you like to DJ that you haven't yet?
Ooh, I'd have to say Tomorrowland.
Good answer. Good answer. I was wondering if maybe you had like a list of like, I want to play this club back up. You probably played in terms of clubs. You probably played just about everywhere you've wanted to play, at least maybe in the UK.
No, I don't think so. Actually, like obviously, like I'd love to play, the really iconic clubs. I mean, actually, to be fair, I played Ushuaia this summer with David. I supported him for a few shows at Ushuaia in Ibiza, which was a dream come true for me. But there's so many clubs I want to tick off the list. I feel like I haven't even dipped my toes in yet, and hopefully, if
you're doing Webster Hall here in New York, and I know that's not technically a club, but it's a really iconic venue for electronic music. A lot of big names have come through that over the years.
Oh man, I'm so buzzing for that gig, and the response I've had from it has been probably the best on the tour so far. The New York gig, I know the tickets there's not many left either, which is mind blowing for me to be able to sell tickets in New York. Like for me, I can't believe people over here are paying to come and see me at the moment. It's crazy.
Well, the hunger for shows like yours is really strong here right now, and Demi can back me up on that.
Jordan, let's go to the show.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, guys, come please. Yeah. I'd love you to be there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Joel. We really appreciate you taking time out, and good luck on the rest of the tour. And hopefully we'll see you in New York in a couple of weeks.
Oh, thanks guys. I loved it. And yeah, thanks for having me on, and definitely come to the show if you can. It'd be, I want to see you in the front row, Raven.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
All right, man. We'll see you later. We'll talk to you later.
Nice one. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. That was Joel Corry. His new single is available now. And you can catch him on tour across the US right now. Demi, that was fun.
I don't know, man. Now I'm in the mood for Mackie D's.
Yeah. Well, you're in the mood for any kind of, unhealthy junk food most of the time. So
no, frosting.
Only frosting. Maybe frosting on top of a quarter pounder. I wonder what that would taste like. All right, guys. So we are back on Tuesday. What do we got Tuesday, Demi?
I can't even say it out loud because it's just I can't even say it out loud.
Former President Barack Obama will be just kidding. Yeah,
okay, we have Porches coming on the show, you guys, and I couldn't be more excited. I've been a fan since actually I was like a kid. I've been such a big fan, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, so we got Porches at 1:00 Eastern on Tuesday, and if you're listening to the podcast version, it'll be the next episode. So until then, we'll see you later, and thanks for watching.